What is up, BCB fam? Hope all are good and safe today. I am Tommy Nichols, Blue Collar Voice of Santa Rosa County, coming at you from the beautiful Nichols Ranch here in North Santa Rosa County. And today's American Badasses to Fact Series episode is, oh boy, it's a good one. It is the real life version of Rambo, Mr. Roy Benavidez. And wait till you hear this man. He's one of a kind. The video today is going to be a bit different than the previous episodes where we give you 10 to 15 facts and we speak on it. This one we're still going to hit the facts, of course, and speak on it, but no countdown. We're just going to be straight up rolling on through it. But before we get into the episode of American Badasses to Facts, we got to say thank you and give a shout out to a local business and supporter of BCB, and that is Rusty Way of Way's Lawn and Landscape. After we spoke about this, I dug into his work and got nothing, guys, but great reviews and some awesome before and after photos. So, guys, if you're looking for a landscaper, I've got to recommend Rusty. Give him a shot. And you and your lawn will be happy you did. You can reach him at 850-791-2199. That is 850-791-2199. And you can find him on Facebook for all your residential and commercial needs. Just give him a holler. And as usual, to anyone else that wants to sponsor a show or an episode or just be part of BCB family, you know what to do. Hit me up. We'll get you on board. Let's get it. Now, without further ado, Mr. Roy P. Benavidez was a member of the Studies and Observations Group of the United States Army. He received the Medal of Honor for his actions in combat near Lac Nhi, South Vietnam on May 2nd, 1968. Roy Benavidez was born near DeWitt County in Texas. He was the son of a Mexican father and Yaqui Indian mother. When he was 2 years old, his father died of tuberculosis and his mother would remarry. 5 years later, his mother would die from tuberculosis as well. Benavidez and his younger brother Roger moved to El Campo where their grandfather, uncle, and aunt raised them along with 8 cousins. Benavidez shined shoes at a local bus station, labored on farms in Texas and Colorado, and worked at a tire shop in El Campo. He attended high school sporadically, and at the age of 15, he would drop out to work full-time to help support the family. So right off the bat, guys, he's got the deck stacked against him. His dad goes at 2 years old. Mom gets remarried. A couple years later, same thing that took dad out, takes mom out. Goes to live with his relatives. At 15, got to go to work. So he's already got the deck stacked against him. It's already starting out rough for this man. And it's probably going to get a lot rougher. In 1952, during the Korean War, Benavidez enlisted in the Texas Army National Guard. In June 1955, he enlisted in the regular U.S. Army. He would marry Hilaria Coy Benavidez in 1959. The year he completed his airborne training and was assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg. In 1965, he was sent to South Vietnam as an advisor to the Arvin Infantry Regiment. He stepped on a landmine during a patrol and was evacuated to the United States, where doctors at Fort Sam Houston concluded he would never walk again and began preparing his medical discharge papers. I told you, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better for this young man. Goes over there, defending his country, goes out, steps on a landmine, gets shipped back home. Everything you got going, finally your life's rolling along, you got a good career going. Now you're being told you're never going to walk again. Now you got to find something else to do to make a living at that. As Benavidez noted in his 1981 Medal of Honor acceptance speech, stung by the diagnosis, as well as flag burnings and media criticism of the U.S. military presence in Vietnam he saw on TV, he began an unsanctioned nightly training ritual in an attempt to redevelop his ability to walk. Getting out of bed at night against doctor's orders, of course, Benavidez would crawl using his elbows and chin to a wall near his bedside. And he would prop himself against the wall and attempt to lift himself unaided, starting by wiggling his toes, then his feet, and then eventually, after several months of excruciating practice and pain, pushing himself up the wall with his ankles and legs. After over a year of hospitalization, Benavidez walked out of the hospital in July 1966 with his wife at his side, determined to return to combat in Vietnam. You're told you're never going to walk again. Like I said before, everything you've known is now over with. Your whole life is scrambled. But he didn't take that diagnosis to heart. He's the author of his story. And he wasn't going to let nobody else write it for him. Only him and the man upstairs knew when his story was going to end. And he knew it wouldn't end. And he fought. And you'll learn later on, there's so many more out there that are so thankful that he didn't give up. Benavidez returned to Fort Bragg to begin training for the Elite Studies and Observations Group. Despite continuing pain from his wounds, he became a member of the 5th Special Forces Group and returned to South Vietnam in January of '68. On May 2nd, 1968, a 12-man Special Forces team was surrounded by an NVA battalion. Benavidez heard the radio appeal for help and boarded a helicopter to respond. Now listen to this, guys. Armed only with a knife, he jumped from the helicopter carrying a medical bag and rushed to join the trapped men. Benavidez distinguished himself by a series of daring and extremely glorious actions, and because of this gallant choice to join voluntarily his comrades who were in critical straits, to expose himself constantly to withering enemy fire, and his refusal to be stopped despite numerous severe wounds, saved the lives of at least 8 men. He was believed dead after finally being evacuated and was being zipped up in a body bag when he mustered the last of his strength and spit in the face of a medic, thereby alerting nearby medical personnel that he was still alive. Like I said, he was writing his book. And what a warrior. What a warrior. This is somebody you definitely want to see jumping off that helicopter coming to save you. Nearly dead from a total of 37 separate bayonet, bullet, and sharpener wounds received on multiple occasions over the course of the 6-hour fight between the 13 men and an enemy battalion. Benavidez was evacuated once again to Brooke Army Medical Center, where he eventually recovered. For his heroism, the Army awarded him the Distinguished Service Cross. In 1973, after more detailed accounts became available, Special Forces Lieutenant Colonel Ralph R. Drake insisted that Benavidez receive the Medal of Honor. By then, however, the time limit on the medal had expired. An appeal to Congress resulted in an exemption for Benavidez, but the Army Decorations Board still denied him the Medal of Honor. The board required an eyewitness account from someone present during the action, but Benavidez thought that no others were still alive in the 6 hours in hell. Just wait. In 1980, however, Brian O'Connor, a radio man in the attack Special Forces team, provided a 10-page report of the engagement. O'Connor had been severely wounded, and Benavidez had believed him dead, and was evacuated to the United States before his superiors could fully debrief him. O'Connor learned that Benavidez was alive by chance. He had been living in Fiji Islands and was on holiday in Australia when he read a newspaper account of Benavidez from the El Campo newspaper. It had been picked up by the international press and reprinted in Australia. O'Connor soon contacted his old friend and submitted his report, confirming the accounts already provided by others and providing the missing eyewitness. On February 24, 1981, President Ronald Reagan presented Roy P. Benavidez the Medal of Honor. Reagan reportedly turned to the press and said, "If the story of his heroism were a movie script, you would not believe it." Absolutely not. Because it's just crazy. Who in their right mind is going to jump on a chopper and then with nothing but a knife and a med kit and go out and just by themselves save 8 men. It's unheard of. But the thing is we all know you can't measure a man's heart, and especially a man's will to live. And most of all, the bond of brotherhood. He heard his brothers being massacred by the NBA. And he does a speech later on, and he talks about it, what happened. And he talks about he went into autopilot. He don't remember most of it until moments after, which is normal. But all he heard was his fellow Americans being killed. He knew he had to do something, and he dang sure did. And now there are 8 families that are forever thankful for this one man, American badass. In retirement, despite the injuries Master Sergeant Benavidez sustained in Vietnam, he continued serving the Army and was assigned to Fort Riley, Kansas, Fort Devens, Massachusetts, and Fort Sam Houston, Texas. In August 1976, he retired from the United States Army as a Master Sergeant. Benavidez, his wife, and their 3 children then returned home to El Campo, Texas. Benavidez devoted his remaining years to the youth of America, speaking to them about the importance of staying in school and getting an education. His message was simple. An education is the key to success. Bad habits and bad company will ruin you. That is facts right there. And how you think that felt coming from a Medal of Honor recipient to those kids. In 1983, Benavidez told the press that the Social Security Administration planned to cut off disability payments he had been receiving since retirement, as well as the disability payments for thousands of other veterans. He went to Capitol Hill on their behalf and pled with the House Select Committee on Aging to abandon their plans, which they finally did. Benavidez was in demand as a speaker by United States Armed Forces, schools, military, and civic groups, and private businesses. He also spoke in Greece, Panama, Korea, and Japan, where he visited American military personnel and even joined them on field exercises. He received complimentary letters from students, service members, and private citizens throughout the entire world. He wrote 3 autobiographical books about his life and military experience. In 1986, he published The 3 Wars of Roy Benavidez, which described his struggles growing up as a poor Mexican-American orphan, his military training and combat in Vietnam, and the efforts by others to get recognition for his actions in Vietnam. Benavidez later wrote The Last Medal of Honor with Pete Billick in 1995. Roy Benavidez would die on November 29, 1998, at the age of 63 at Brooke Army Medical Center, having suffered respiratory failure and complications of diabetes. His body was escorted to St. Robert Bellamine's Catholic Church, where he had married, where his 3 children were married, where he attended Mass every Sunday. He was then returned to Fort Sam Houston's main chapel for a public viewing. Family friend Archbishop Patrick Flores of the San Antonio Diocese would preside over a Catholic funeral mass at San Fernando Cathedral located in San Antonio. Benavidez was buried with full military honors at Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery. When I first learned of this guy, it blew my mind hearing what he'd done. But what caught me off guard even more was he wasn't what you expected. You know, we're forced to think a certain way because of movies and everything else, and you get this picture. Then when you see this man, it's like, and you see how happy he was in these speeches and everything. And you got to go listen to his speeches on YouTube, guys. It will truly warm your heart. He didn't like war, which of course no one does, but he really didn't. But he did love his country, and he loved his fellow American, and he certainly loved his brothers. And one of the speeches he gives, he talks about he wears his military suit uniform everywhere. And why? because he's so proud of it. And absolutely, he should be. He earned it. The real life Rambo. That doesn't even do him justice. You give me this man over Sly Stallone any day of the week. This isn't an actor. This really happened. One man with a knife, a med kit, and a determination. Doing what we Americans do best. We overcome. You tell us we can't do something, we're going to prove to you we can. The doctors told him he's never going to walk again. Oh yeah? Watch this. They thought he was dead. It was zipping his body up. Game over. Not a chance. Not this man. Like I said, you cannot measure a man's heart and their will to live. We are the author of our own stories, and only us and the man upstairs know how it's going to end, guys. Anyway, I hope you learned something today. I learned something I've already known, but it just cemented it, of how wonderful our military men and women are, and just how amazing the bond of brotherhood really is. And it made me really happy to know that we have men like Mr. Benavidez looking out for us. That's why we're the greatest country this world has ever known. Some decorations and medals that Mr. Benavidez received were, of course, the Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Service Cross, Purple Heart with 4 oak leaf clusters, Defense Meritorious Service Medal, Service Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Army Good Conduct Medal, 7 awards, Army of Occupation Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, Vietnam Service Medal with 4 campaign stars, Vietnam Campaign Medal, Vietnam Cross of Gallantry with Palm, Texas Legislative Medal of Honor, Presidential Unit Citation, Combat Infantryman Badge, Master Parachutist Badge, Army Special Forces tab. So as you can see right there, the guy really, truly served his country. And to Mr. Benavidez, myself, and every American are thankful for what you've done, sir. You are truly, truly a hero and an American badass. Guys, remember, you woke up in the greatest country this world has ever known this morning. But it is up to each and every one of us to keep her that way. Eyes front, shields up. I'm Tommy Nichols, Blue Collar Boys, Santa Rosa County. Toodles.
You tell him! You tell him I'm coming!